This is multiplying and dividing rational expressions. All right, the steps for multiplying and dividing rational expressions is factor each numerator and denominator, see what cancels, multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators, and then make sure that nothing else can reduce. So the first thing I'm going to do here is factor the numerator. So multiply your first number and your last number to get 36. List your factors of 36, and then see which one will give you 5. Okay, so it's 4 and 9. So each house is get an X. First sign you always keep. If your first sign is minus, you change your second sign, and then you end up with 9 and 4. Always put your larger number first. And then this is times 1 over x minus 9. I put parentheses around it because it's a binomial, and you want to know that you can't just take one piece of it and cancel. So your x minus 9's cancel, leaving you x plus 4 times 1 in the numerator, and in the denominator, 4 times 1. Double check to make sure nothing can reduce. This 4 and this 4 cannot reduce because this is one binomial. You can't just take a piece. All right, number 3, I can't do anything with 1 or k plus 5 other than put parentheses around it. But I can factor this numerator, but I can't do anything with k minus 7, so we'll leave that alone. So I multiply my first and last number to get 42, and I'm going to find my factors of 42 that will give me 1. So I have 1 and 42, 2 and 21. I think it's going to be 6 and 7. So you put a k here, a k here. Keep your first sign. If your first sign is minus, you change your second sign. Larger number goes first. So your k minus 7's cancel, and you're left with k plus 6 in the numerator, and in the denominator you're left with k plus 5. Your k's do not cancel because it's a binomial and a binomial. You can't just cancel pieces. Alright, can't do anything with 6p, so we're going to leave that alone. But down here we can factor something out. So let's see, we've got 40 and 72. So 4 comes out of both of them, leaving me 10p plus 18. Okay, so actually it looks like eight can come out of both of them as well. So let's try 8 instead. You always want to take the largest number out that you can. So if I take out an 8, I'm left with 5p plus 9. Yep, that's as high as I can take out. And then up here, it looks like it's going to be a 4 here, leaving me 5p plus 9 over 6p. Okay, so your 6p's are going to cancel, your 5p's plus 9 are going to cancel, and you're left with 4 over 8, which of course we will reduce to 1/2. And that is your answer. Okay, here I have n minus 8. I'm going to put parentheses around it. There's nothing I can do to that. And then I'm going to factor down here. Got 56. I need my factors of 56. That will give me 1. So I've got 1 and 56, 2 and 28. Does 3 go? Nope. 4. Yep, 4 goes. 4 and 14. 5 doesn't go. 6 doesn't go. But 7 and 8 is 56. So that'll give me 1. So I'm going to have n and n. Keep your first sign. If your first sign is minus, you change your second sign. And you always write your larger number first. Then up here in this numerator, it's a binomial, so we're just going to see what they have in common. They have a 5n squared in common. So that's going to leave me n plus 7. And you're left with 2n squared down here. So now let's see what cancels. N minus 8 and n minus 8 cancel. N plus 7 and n plus 7 cancel. N squared and n squared cancel, leaving you 5 over 2. Okay, this is a division problem, so be careful. You're going to keep it, switch it, flip it first. So I've got x plus 6 over x squared plus 7x plus 6 times, this is my switch it, and then flip it. You do x plus 5 over 1. Okay, now let's factor. So I have x plus 6, can't do anything with that. I'm going to factor the denominator here. So it's my factors of 6 that give me 7. So I've got 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So it's going to be 1 and 6. If your first sign is positive, you keep your second sign. Larger number always goes first. Can't do anything with x plus 5 or 1. So your x plus 6 is canceled, and you're just left with x plus 5 over x plus 1. Okay, here we can't do anything with the 4, so we're just going to write that. And then in my denominator here, we have a binomial, so I'm going to see what it has in common and factor it out. So I factor out a 4, it leaves me with n plus 1. Up here, I'm going to do my typical everyday factoring. So you do 3 times 40 is 120, and I need to find my factors of 120 that give me 23. I remember from doing this problem yesterday that they're 15 and 8. So we're going to put a 3n here and a 3n here. Keep your first sign. If your first sign is positive, you keep your second sign. Larger number always goes first. Then look at your houses and see if they have anything in common. This house has a 3 in common, so you divide it out, which is going to give you n plus 5 instead of that. And then down here, I've got 12n and 32. And the only thing that can come out of that is a 4, which is going to leave me 3n plus 8. So let's rewrite this just so you can see it better. There we go. So now let's see what cancels. My 3n's plus 8 cancel. This 4 cancels either this 4 or this 4, but not both. So I'm going to cancel it here, and that's going to leave me n plus 5 over 4 times n plus 1. Alright, because it is a division problem, you're going to have to keep it, switch it, flip it. So you've got x squared minus 10x plus 16 over 18x squared minus 72x. Switch it to multiplication and flip it over. Now, when you flip it over, you notice this and this are the same, so you can just go ahead and cancel those. You don't even have to factor them. You're only going to have to factor your numerator here. So it's 16, factors of 16 that give you 10. You've got 1 and 16. You've got 2 and 8. It's going to be 2 and 8. So you've got x and x. If your first sign is negative, you change your second sign. Larger number always goes first. Over 1, because we already canceled that. Times 1 over 1, because we already canceled it. So your answer is just x minus 8 times x minus 2. Now they ask you to tell them what your excluded values are. And what that means is just the values that will give you 0 in the denominator. Alright, now I'm going to start with the numerator. And since it's a binomial, I'm just going to factor out what they have in common. And it looks like the only thing they have in common, is a 2, which means I'll have left 7v minus 8. And then in the denominator, the first thing I'm going to do is factor out a negative 1 before I factor that, because that will make this easier for me. So all of your signs change. Times. We've got another binomial up here, so we're going to factor out what they have in common. In this case, it's a 10, leaving me with 2v plus 5. And here, my 2v plus 5, I can't do anything with that. But obviously, these are going to cancel, so that's nice. So I've got to go ahead and factor, leave my negative 1, factor this, and then everything else will still stay the same. Okay, so I need the factors of 7 times 40, which is 280. That will give me 43. So I cheat a little bit on these, and I use a calculator to find out what the factors are. because I think they would give you a calculator for this on the PERT. So let's see, 280. It's going to be 35 and 8. And the way that I actually figured that out is I started looking at my factors of 28, and that didn't work. So then I just started guessing random numbers and divided them by 280, and I got 35 and 8. So you put a 7v here and a 7v here. Your first sign is minus, so you change your second sign, and the larger number always goes first. Then you need to look at each individual house and see if they have anything in common. This house has a 7 in common, so it changes to v minus 5 instead of 7v minus 35. So now you can start canceling. 7v minus 8s cancel, 2v plus 5s cancel, and you're left with 2 times 10 in your numerator, which is 20, over negative 1 times v minus 5. And again, I don't know if they will distribute the negative, but you guys can handle that if they do. All right. So I have number 17 is a division problem, so I'm going to keep it. So you keep your first fraction, switch it, change the division to multiplication, and flip it. Flip your last fraction. So I have 1 over a plus 10 times, can't do anything with those, 9a plus 18. I can factor a 9 out of that, leaving me a plus 2 over 9. These 9s cancel. Nothing else cancels, so you're left with a plus 2 over a plus 10. Okay, another division problem here, so we're going to have to keep it, switch it, flip it. Keep your first fraction. Switch division to multiplication, and flip your next fraction. Now, before I start factoring, you should notice that this and this are the same thing. So just go ahead and cancel them out. You cannot cancel this 9 with this 9 because this is an x minus 9. So you're just left with 9 over x minus 9. Okay, back to multiplication. So we're going to go ahead and see what these two terms have in common. It's a 4n, leaving an n plus 3 over 8. Can't do anything with that. And 1 over 4n, can't factor anything of that. So I've got the 4n's cancel, leaving me just n plus 3 over 8. Okay, here I can immediately cancel the 7m squareds, so I'm just left with 1 over 5, since I canceled the 7m squared, times, here I can factor out a 5, leaving me m plus 7 over 1, because I already canceled out the 7m squared. Your 5's cancel, leaving you just m plus 7 over 1. However, we don't write over 1, so it's just m plus 7. All right. I'm going to go ahead and factor a negative 1 out of this, and I'm going to rewrite it in the right order, which is x squared plus 2x minus 24. I changed all the signs because I factored a negative 1 out. And this is all over. Looking at the binomial in the denominator here, what do they have in common? They have a 4x squared in common, which is leaving me an x minus 4. And then up here, 4x squared, can't do anything with that. And down here we have x plus 2, can't do anything with that. So we still need to go ahead and factor this. So I have negative 1. You can leave your 4x squared and your x minus 4, and your 4x squared and your x plus 2. All right, so I'm going to find factors of 24 that give me 2. My factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. So it's going to be 4 and 6. So you need an x here and an x here. If your first sign is plus, you keep your second sign, and the larger number goes first. Now we can start canceling. X minus 4's cancel. 4x squareds cancel. That looks like it. So your answer is negative 1 times x plus 6 over x plus 2. And again, they may have distributed the negative, but if they did, you guys can definitely handle that.